Hello, everyone, and welcome to this webinar on safety in the construction sector in Kenya. Thank you very much for joining us today. Particular thanks to all of our fantastic participants and speakers and panelists, including from the Institute of Engineers Kenya and the Architectural Association of Kenya. I'd also like to recognise the Engineers Board of Kenya. We have some colleagues joining us in the audience too. So thank you very much, everyone, for joining. Today's reflection webinar is also being screened as a side session at the Architectural Association of Kenya's Convention on Social Housing and Mass Production. So welcome to all of those who are joining us from the convention in Mombasa, and thanks so much for taking the time. I'll also just introduce our fantastic moderator today. We have Grace Wanjia, who works for the Institution of Engineers of Kenya as the Membership and Training Manager and also Acting CEO. She's also the project lead of the Engineering Excellence Alliance, a project founded by the Royal Academy of Engineering Africa Catalyst Programme. And next, I'd like to introduce our main speaker for today, Professor Augustine Makgoga. He's Professor of Mechanical Engineering with vast experience in occupational safety and health. He's a corporate member of the Institution of Engineers Kenya, Dean at the School of Engineering at Moi University, and project lead for the Safety Champions in Engineering Education project in Kenya. For anyone who doesn't know, Safety Champions in Engineering Education is a work stream under the Engineering X Skills for Safety programme. Engineering X is an international collaboration founded by the Royal Academy of Engineering and the Lloyd's Register Foundation, and we work to tackle complex safety and sustainability challenges globally. So Prof. Makgoga was lucky enough to be selected as one of our ski champions. There were 25 champions in total who went through a programme of mentorship to support them to be leaders in pioneering engineering education and particularly safety within their institutions. So Prof. Makgoga is going to tell us more about the problem about safety in the construction sector in Kenya and share his ski project on the training of trainers for safety skills. So I will hand over to Prof. Makgoga. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much, Coco, for that kind introduction, and a very good morning to everyone on the call. I'm very glad to share with you reflections on construction safety in Kenya from the context of the Safety Champions in Engineering Education program. We recognize that construction industry is one of the very crucial economic sectors in Kenya, but it's characterized by very low safety performance, which is compounded by the changing technologies in construction, as well as the complexities of infrastructures. So the challenge is to ensure that the people who are working in this sector are safe, as well as the built infrastructure and the environment. So there's a need to find a solution to this challenge, and that is what the Safety Champions in Engineering Education program aims to contribute to. So briefly, the goal of the Safety Champions in Engineering Education program is first to build capacity in terms of skills and knowledge to ensure that we have a sector which is safe, and we are targeting students, engineering students, who will become future professionals designing, maintaining, and operating our infrastructures in the industry. We are also looking at the practicing professionals, engineers, mainly for purpose of us upskilling them and reskilling them so that they're able to implement safe engineering practices in the construction industry. And secondly, we are also trying to enhance safety awareness by advocating for enforcement of standards in the industry. And we are doing this through outreach programs. So we hope that through this, we should be able to reduce the number of accidents and fatalities that occur in our engineering construction industry. Just to look at this, maybe just to have a kind of a context of this, we we try to get some data from the industry to be able to understand the context of the challenge or the context of the problem. And looking at the growth rate, we realized that construction is one of the fastest growing sectors, having recorded about 6.3% rate of growth in the first quarter of 2024. And in terms of the GDP, the sector contributed 7.1% to the GDP, and it employs approximately 400,000 people, out of which around 135,000 are skilled. The remaining are semi-skilled and unskilled. In terms of the contractors who are involved in this sector, we have about 70,000 plus contractors, of course, in different categories. We have those in the build sector or building works, we have those in the road works, and we have those in the civil works. The remaining about 8% are the ones in mechanical and electrical works. We also looked at the capacity in terms of the professionals that we have, and we realized that this sector is served by a range of professionals. We have engineers, we have architects, we have quantity surveyors, and we have fiscal planners. And we are talking of about 5,000 collectively, the number of professionals. Now, if I look at just, let's say, for engineers, we are looking at about 2,000 engineers who are expected to serve 70,000 plus contractors. That's assuming that all these engineers are working in the construction sector. And that will translate to 1 engineer in every 35 contractors. You can see that already we are really under capacity in terms of our professionals. And in one way, this could also be a contributing factor to the low safety performance that we are witnessing in our construction industry. And indeed, if we look at the statistics on fatalities within our construction industry, you notice that comparatively, Kenya has a very high rate of fatalities, which is about 64 fatalities per every 100,000 workers per year. And that number is higher compared to our neighboring African countries like Morocco, Egypt, South Africa. And of course, it's way above the global average of about 10.3. So that means that we still need to really do more to be able to bring down this number. We also know that safety is not only confined to the construction stage, it extends even to the stages after construction. And as we can see from this data, you notice that safety risk is actually very varied. Out of 14,895 buildings that were inspected in 2021 by the National Building Inspectorate, only 24% were declared as safe. That means that the remaining about 76% are actually unsafe. And that is during the building as well as after the construction stage. And we also observed that the number of buildings that collapsed during the same year were actually more after completion than during construction. That implies that even the building where you are seated, you have to be sure whether it's one of those that are safe or not, because 8 in 10 buildings are actually unsafe. That's what the statistics is telling us. And it actually implies that safety is really a very varied kind of risk, which can occur in many forms. And just to reiterate this, we looked at some case points just to be able to reiterate or demonstrate how varied the risk is. We did some case points, and the first case point relates to a building in Nairobi, and I think most Kenyans have seen this. This is a building that was sinking, or was partially sinking. This is due to some issues with the design of the foundation. And we can attribute this to failure to observe building codes and standards, and maybe also non-involvement of qualified professionals in the design and supervision of some of these projects. The second case point relates to a breach which collapsed in Kajiado in the year 2022. This occurred just 1 week after commissioning. And the reason is actually attributable to the design deficiency of the bridge. And then the last case point relates to construction supervisor or a boss who actually fell and died while supervising or inspecting a building. And we see that there was failure by the contractor to provide safe access to the construction site, which is an issue with non-compliance. So we learn a few lessons from this, and one of the lessons we are learning is that safety runs all through the entire stages of the project. It's kind of an integrated kind of aspect in what we normally look at as a systems approach, where safety should be considered as an integral part of the entire project. And two, we also see that in terms of the safety responsibilities, all the duty holders in a project should have a responsibility for safety. And having said that, now let's see, or let's try now to understand who is involved in terms of ensuring that the people, the infrastructure, the environment is safe, ensuring that the regulations are enforced, and ensuring that safety is improved. So first of all, we have the government, and the government has a duty to ensure that they monitor, they control the quality, they're able to approve and ensure that the planning is as per the standards. And also they are doing this through a number of agencies. We have the National Construction Authority, we have NEMA, we have DOSH, we have KEPS. All these agencies are supposed to assist the government to ensure that our infrastructure, our people, and our environment is safe as far as construction is concerned. The second stakeholder here is professional bodies and training institutions. Professional bodies here have a duty to regulate the professionals who are practicing in the construction industry. Of course, they provide licensing. They also ensure that standards are adhered to, and also they are supposed to contribute towards development of some of these standards and ensure that professionals uphold professional practice. And we also have universities and colleges who have a duty to train young engineers or young professionals who will be taking up these responsibilities in the future as professionals in the industry to design, to implement, to manage some of these projects. And by doing so, they are supposed to actually be well qualified to be able to do this in a safe manner. We also have the industry. Of course, they have a duty in terms of compliance. They are supposed to comply to the regulations. We have the employer, and the employer is supposed to provide the relevant information that will help the contractor to be able to come up with a safety management plan. And also we have the community that has a duty to create awareness or ensure that the members in the community are sensitized about
Prof, did we lose you? Ansett, can I be heard, or Prof is the one with the problem?
Okay, so I think the Prof is the one with a problem. Let's give him a minute and allow any questions to be posted in the chat. And if he's still struggling, we can start with one of the elements of the panel discussion while we wait for him to rejoin. Prof, there you are. We lost you for a moment there. Prof, we can't hear you.
Sorry for that. I just don't know where I stopped, where you lost me.
We lost you on the last responsibility slide, if you want to pick up from there.
Okay. Okay, I was just looking at the responsibilities of the industry as far as safety is concerned. Okay, let me just share this slide again.
While we wait for the slides to come back up, If you are
Okay.
joining online, you have a Q&A function, which is different to the chat function. If you choose the Q&A function, you can start putting your questions in there, and the panelists will be able to see it, and we'll take all questions at the end of the panel discussion. So just use the Q&A function.
Okay, sorry for that hitch. I think I'm now back. I hope you are able to see my slides. I was just trying to explain the role of the industry as far as safety is concerned. Of course, the contractors have a duty in terms of ensuring compliance. The employer has a duty to provide relevant information that will assist the contractors to be able to come up with a safety management plan. And of course, the community, which is also charged with the responsibility of ensuring that safety awareness and sensitization is in place. In doing so, they are guided by some policy and regulations. And we have the National Housing Policy, we have the National Environment Management Policy, we have the Construction Industry Policy, all the way up to the National Occupational Safety and Health Policy. So these policies are able to assist them to be able to implement safety management. Now, having contextualized or understood the context of the sector, we carried out a survey to be able to understand the barriers to achieving safety within our construction industry. And we sampled 26 counties, as you can see on the left. We sampled 26 counties, and all the way from Turkana to Mombasa. And what came out is that there were 4 main barriers. Of course, there were so many kind of factors, but 4 came out strongly as the main barriers. And this relates to ineffective monitoring and enforcement, issues of safety knowledge, issues of budget limitations. That means the provisions of safety budgets was also a limitation. And then safety awareness was also cited as very low within the industry. And looking at this, it means that this is a very kind of diverse field, and to be able to tackle this challenge will require to approach it from multiple dimensions. And one of them would be through mentoring and evaluation, through capacity building, and also through enforcement. So as safety champions in engineering education, we are contributing towards tackling this challenge through a capacity building approach. And we've been able to enforce about 4 programs to be able to build capacity. One of them is training of trainers. Another one is graduate internship program. We've also done short courses on safety. And lastly, we are also doing some outreach and partnership programs to be able to enhance that safety awareness. So in terms of training of trainers, this program is meant to be able to assist those occupational safety and health trainers to improve on their ability to be able to effectively deliver trainings within their workplaces, within the industry or wherever they're working, and to be able to do this effectively and impactfully. And by doing so, they're able to, in a way, infuse our safety culture through knowledge empowerment of the workers, through behavioral change, as well as ensuring that there's continuous learning within those working places. This is just a photo of the first cohort of graduates from the TOT program. And in terms of participants, we were able to bring in representation from government, regulators, training institutions, private practitioners, industry, as well as the community. All of them were able to be involved. And we know that we still have more stakeholders, but so far, these are the ones we were able to engage. But we are looking forward to expanding this so that we are able to bring on board more stakeholders so that we can be able to expand that impact. The second initiative was safety internship program. We organized an 8-week industry-based training with a focus on safety leadership. And we were able to graduate the first cohort of 8 interns. We believe that these interns are going to be safety leaders in their future workplaces where they go, so that they can become champions, they become ambassadors, they become leaders. So the training helps them to appreciate safety, to be able to understand that safety is an integral part of the entire construction project, and to be able to develop that passion for safety through practice. And here you can see the list of the photo of the first cohort of interns. And these are students, these are fresh graduates from universities, drawn from different universities. We have Moi University, we have Jomo Kenyatta University, we have Technical University of Mombasa, and the rest who are involved in this training. And the third initiative is the safety short course. So we also developed a short course targeting our undergraduate students. We want to inculcate safety among the students early enough, starting from the year one, so that they're able to appreciate, they're able to develop those three habits: the habit of the mind, the heart, and they're able now to be able to be innovative in terms of designing projects where safety is part of the entire system, what we call the systems thinking mindset. So this course, we were able to have the first cohort of 994 students who completed the course, and we are hoping to register the second cohort, and maybe, hopefully, we should be able to have more universities also joining, because the course is available online and is free from any charges. And the last activity is outreach, where we are trying to sensitize the industry on safety. And what you can see here is a photo of part of the key members having an outreach with the Kenya Ports Authority to try and sensitize them on safety, especially with relation to maritime constructions. In conclusion, we believe that through enforcement and through safety training, we should be able to build or cultivate a safety culture within our construction industry. And also, going forward, we need to be able to identify our future skills, given the complexity of our infrastructure today and the changing technologies. We need to be able to identify which are these future skills that we need, so that we are able to keep our industry safe. We're also looking at policies. We need to have future-looking policies, and we need to come up with partnerships that are going to help to promote safety. So as our next steps, we want to leverage the partnerships that we have so far established with our stakeholders to be able to scale up some of our initiatives in terms of capacity building for safety, and also carry out some further engagements to be able to improve our policy and advance our research towards achieving a safer construction industry in Kenya. So in terms of references, I have some links there where you can be able to get more information. And that brings me to the end of my presentation. And thank you for your audience. I now hand over to Grace to take us through the panel discussions.